Tracy, BBC Radio Gloucestershire. Thank you for your time. Big story of the day then. Danny Cipriani has gone. What can you say about it?
Look, me and Danny have we've got a very good relationship and a very honest relationship, and we've had a couple of discussions over the last few weeks, and Danny felt it was time for a new challenge, and we fully support him in that. And we've shook hands, and as I say, Danny's off to whatever his next challenge is.
And how much of a shock to you was his departure?
Yeah, like I say, today's not a shock to me because I've been talking to Danny for a couple of weeks, and as I say, it's relatively easy when you've got a good relationship with someone and you can talk honestly and openly. So, I'm pleased for Danny that he can. He's been a great servant to the club, and he can push on and challenge himself in whatever route he chooses to go down.
Yeah, absolutely. Great servant to the club. How do you sum up his contribution to Gloucester?
Yeah, look, particularly the season, a couple of years ago when Gloucester got into the playoffs, I think, he was Player of the Year and he was outstanding, and he brought some great moments to Gloucester and to the game, full stop. And I think, a player of his quality is great to watch when he's in full flow and playing like that. So I'm sure the fans will have plenty of nice messages for him, and they'll appreciate what he did while he was here.
And a busy day at Kingsholm, new signing Adam Hastings. How much do you see Adam as a direct replacement for Danny?
Well, I think Adam's a good signing for us. He's young, he's hungry, he's got a good, he's already got good experience behind him, obviously, and he's really excited to come and play in the Premiership. And I think that's obviously very exciting for the club and the supporters of the club.
And sort of moving on, but looking back, heavy defeat at Lyon last weekend with lots of youngsters playing. Ulster coming up. What sort of team are you going to put out? How much different? More of a standard starting 15?
Yeah, it will look different to what it did last week. We're managing our way through this process. We've got a good few injuries, and we've also we've got a good bit of exposure with the young lads last weekend. So there's all sorts of decisions and managing different players and trying to see expose other players, and we're managing it the way we think is best. But yeah, the team will look slightly different this weekend.
And looking further ahead, any eyes on the Exeter game on Boxing Day?
Well, we're dealing with Ulster right now. We obviously know that's our next Premiership game, and we under no illusion how tough that one is for sure. But right now we're focused on Ulster, and obviously Ulster had a great season last season, and they were. They only just lost on the weekend. They're a serious outfit, and they're very impressive when you watch them play.
And how much a challenge is it, George, to put out a fully competitive team in both the league and Europe, given the changes to squad, injuries, and those back-to-back fixtures week in, week out?
Yeah, I think it's very challenging in a normal season. I think if you have the squad to compete on both fronts, that's a real privilege. I think on a season like this, where it's back-to-back every single week. And then you throw in, the amount of injuries we've got right now, that it is, it's very difficult. But you take the positives from it, and obviously the scoreline wasn't, particularly enjoyable on the weekend. I thought there were some young players in George Barton, particularly. He worked extremely hard, and I was really impressed with him. Seb Nagle-Taylor in his first game of sort of out of the Championship, and there were just some good, solid guys working really, really hard, and. We made lots of mistakes, and there's loads of young lads who, we've sat down, reviewed their games with them, and they'll just be better for it in the long run.
And you mentioned the injuries. What's the situation with Ben Morgan, Willie Hines? How desperate are you for some of your big names to be back?
Yeah, it'd be great. Yeah, I obviously I haven't had the privilege of really picking them since I've been at the club. So Willie played Bath, but then he got an injury with England there. So. Yeah, I would love to have all our big names ready open for selection, but unfortunately that's just not the case at the moment.
And many of our listeners they're stuck at home, not travelling as much. What's it like to be travelling to places like Lyon during the pandemic? How was that experience for you and the squad?
Yeah, it's different, and I think like I say, it was great for the young lads to be exposed against such a good Lyon team on the pitch, but I'd have absolutely loved there to be a baying crowd as well, and then you get that real experience of playing in France away, which never mind how tough it is on the pitch. When you turn up and you run out, and the crowd, a bit like Kingsholm, they're not shy of letting you know what they think. It's it is something special. And I think, we flew out to Lyon. We were basically locked in a hotel, and then we played the game and flew home. So a different experience. But as I say, the positives are we've led a lot of the lads on the weekend to a high tempo, extremely physical game.
Last one from me, George. Nigel Owen's retiring, and that's his retirement. Have you got any memories of being reffed by him?
Yeah, I've been reffed by him plenty of times in Europe, and he's without a doubt one of the best refs out there. And I think he's obviously pretty high profile now away from refereeing as well. But certainly in my experience as a player, I found him a fair ref and a good guy.
Nice one, George. Thank you very much for your time. I'll pass to the rest of the guys now. Thank you.
Thanks.
George, hi, it's Andrew Baldock here at the Press Association. Just going back to Danny quickly, is there an element of upheaval with him going, or was it something that you were perhaps able to prepare for and plan for?
Yeah, I mean, like I say, it's a shock, obviously, to everyone outside of the inner circle, if you like, and obviously it's not something necessarily we've had to plan for or anything like that. As I say, the discussions between myself and Danny and Gloucester have been very easy and honest, and it's a really simple process. So there's not been loads of planning around it or anything like that, or any dramatic shock to it. Obviously, we've kept it in-house until Danny had decided exactly what he wanted to do. So it is what it is, to be honest with you. There's no smoke or mirrors to it. It's as simple as it is.
And Danny's very much his own man. I mean, do you hope that he will carry on playing for a couple more years at least?
Oh, absolutely. I think that's one of the big things. I think someone of Danny's quality, we all know what Danny can do on his day, and it's great to watch. And I think it'd be a real shame if Danny didn't take on a new challenge. And obviously that's up to him, what he decides to do, where he decides to go, whatever that looks like. That's not something I've discussed with him. That's very much personal to him and his family. But yeah, absolutely. I would hope to see Danny, go on and play some great rugby.
And just a final one from me, George. Lloyd Evans is a player who's come through, and obviously I know he got the head injury against Quins, but he looks like he could do a real job for you for the rest of this season, certainly.
Yeah, Lloyd's coming along really well. He's young, hungry. He's Gloucester through and through, and he's really enjoying working with Alex King and developing his game. And as you say, he had a great game against Wasps, and it was unfortunate he got a headbang against Quins because he was on form, and it would have been interesting to see that game out with him on the field. So yeah, look, Lloyd's here for the future, and he's doing a great job, and we're all very excited about that.
Thank you.
George, with the signing of Adam for next season, was Danny always likely to go at the end of the season anyway?
Well, like I say, I mean, it's not got to that point. So, it's very much the discussions that have happened in the last fortnight, and we haven't got to the point where we get to an end of a season and have to have those discussions. So it's sort of taken out of the hands, and it's a conversation that's never come to fruition because, as I say, Danny's going to go off to a new challenge.
You've got Lloyd, and you talked about how well George played on the weekend. Are you going to bring in anyone else at 10, or are you happy with the cover you've got there with Billy Toft, who's able to slot in there too?
Yeah, I mean, Billy's got an ankle injury at the moment, so he's out for a little while. But yeah, as you say, we got Lloyd, and as I say, I thought George really impressed me on the weekend, and I think George has got a real big future at the club going forward. So we're okay for now. It's something we'll review and have the conversations we have to have behind the scenes and work out where we stand and where we think we need cover. And that's an ongoing exercise all the time. And like I say, when you get smashed with injuries in a certain period, you're always looking at it going, where can we plug that hole? How long does that come? How long does that go out for? So they're pretty fluid conversations that happen all the time anyway. But as I say, we're lucky to have Lloyd and George coming through and puts us in a good spot.
Just finally for me, you've known Danny for so long, and he seemed very, very excited when you came in back earlier in the year. Are you disappointed, sort of personally, that it's ended this way, because he was going to be such a big part of your project, I imagine?
Yeah, I mean, look, as I say, I've got a very good relationship with Danny, and I've known him a long time, and we continue to have a good relationship, and we will continue after this to have a good relationship. But I mean, obviously it's always sad when you've got to say goodbye to someone of Danny's quality in a squad. But I think, in the conversations I've had with Danny, I'm very comfortable this is the right thing for him to do. And, you know, as I say, I know he's excited to move on, and, you know, we just got to adapt and work out a plan around, you know, not having Danny here, which obviously is again, it's just another challenge for the coaches, really.
Thanks, George.
Hi, George. Hugh Godwin. Was this in the nature of something Danny wanted from Gloucester that you couldn't provide, or was it purely the case of an opportunity arising from him that he wanted to take right now?
No, I mean, as I say, I don't know like what Danny's next challenge will be. I think this is more just, you know, there sometimes comes a point where a player, you know, feels it's time to move on and time to do something different. And again, like I say, because I've got a very good relationship and it's honest, it was very easy to have those conversations. But there's been no incident or any falling out or anything of that nature. It's very much, as I say, exactly how it is. And you know, that's, as I say, I support him fully in whatever challenge he goes forward with.
George, was there any financial element to Danny's departure? We all know how stretched finances are at the moment. I mean, I can't quite understand why he would be allowed to go after 4 games with so much of the season left to play, leaving you fairly short-resourced in such a key position.
Well, no, there's nothing financial, because I don't think that would benefit anybody. So it's nothing like that. It's exactly what I'm saying. You know, right now is it's time for a new challenge, and that's, you know, ultimately I'm pleased for Danny that he's happy and that's the way he wants to go. And like I say, that's I'm telling you the honest, not say the conversations we had, but the fact we could honestly talk about it is a benefit to both parties, because I think when a player, you know, wants to move on and fancies a new challenge, there's no point trying to keep him at a club where you know, it's not necessarily for them anymore, because it'll only cause dramas.
Okay, that's fair enough. Interesting. In August, you said, you know, if people aren't buying into your vision, then the team sheet will show you who's buying into it. Obviously, we've not seen him play. Has he not been playing in recent weeks because these discussions have been going on, and yeah, they've been on everyone's mind? Is that why we've not seen him?
No, I mean, so obviously I have got a vision of where we want to go, but this is not to do with that. This is very much, you know, Danny had a couple of niggles from early in the year, and that's where that probably gave us an opportunity for him, you know, to step back and think about it, and that's where the conversations probably stem from. Was like you say, is it time for a new challenge? But again, there's nothing more to it than that. It's just the way one of these things has panned out.
In terms of this season, yeah, you have touched on it. You've got these young guys coming through. Are you confident the likes of Lloyd can step up and carry this team?
Absolutely, yeah, 100%. I think that's the beauty, I suppose, of you know, coming into a team, like I said at the end of last year, and testing people and challenging people, and some guys who haven't been exposed as much as they possibly could have get a chance to be exposed. And I'm always going to see things slightly different to the coaches who've gone before. And, you know, someone like Lloyd hasn't had a huge amount of exposure. And this is, you know, he will going forward. And as I say, so will George, because I thought George's composure on the weekend was outstanding for a young man.
Thank you.
Cheers.
George, you talked there about your vision for the club. I just wonder if you can tell me a bit about how Adam Hastings fits into that, and how long you've been looking at him.
Yeah, I think like Adam's a great signing for us. You know, he's obviously, you know, it's a big decision for him. And when I talked to him about playing in the Premiership, he was really excited. And I think that for him is where he feels his game will kick on. And I think working with Alex King in this league will only make him a better player, and a better player for Scotland as well as Gloucester. So you know, he's a good age profile. He's extremely hungry. He's you know, he's a good guy who works hard, and they're the sort of people that you know, we want to try and recruit.
How much better do you think he can get individually, and how much what will he bring to you guys as a team?
Yeah, well, I think again, you know, working with Kingy will be great for him, and I know he's excited about that. And I think for him, you know, in fairness to him, he's stepping out his comfort zone. He could have stayed where he is and you know, kept improving there, no doubt. But I think, you know, moving to another another country, into another league, and playing against players that he won't have been playing against week in, week out, will will no doubt improve him. And we hope to, I don't know how far we can take him, but I hope it's really far. And I know he'll enjoy being here. And I think he knows one or two of the boys anyway. So I think he'll settle in nicely, and he'll be part of that crew that's trying to push the club forward.
Yeah, and just on his own kind of development, do you think moving to join Gloucester is you give him the opportunity to overtake Finn Russell?
Yeah, well, again, it's hard for me to comment on that. Obviously, Finn Russell's playing well, but we see real potential in Adam. And look, again, I don't know how far he can go. I think it'll be pretty far, and I think Kingy's done a lot of work on his game, and I know that they've had a couple of chats, and they're excited. So I do know coming to the Premiership and being tested in a different environment will certainly improve him and test him in different ways.
So last one for me, Chris Harris, will he come back into your thoughts for this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, Chris is back in training today. We'll get the team out at the end of the week, but I think Chris is a big part of the club here. He's obviously been outstanding for Scotland, I think, in this last period, and he was great for us at the back end of last year, and more importantly for us, he's a key member of the squad internally, and he drives standards, and he trains hard, and he's a tough warrior who fronts up all the time. So again, having guys like that is crucial. Presumably
he'll help Adam when the time comes to settle in.
Yeah, I would have thought so. Obviously, they're pals from Scotland, so I would hope he'll look after him and find him somewhere to live and whatnot. So, but I'll leave that up to them.
Good man. Thanks, George.
Thanks very much.
George, hi, Sally here. I'm just wondering if you could tell me when you first got wind of what was going on with Danny. You said discussion's been ongoing for a couple of weeks, but when he first came to you, were you a bit blown away by that, given everything he'd said about your coaching staff when you arrived, and the sort of the happy place he seemed to be in about all that?
Yeah, I don't think that's changed from Danny's point of view. Like I say, there's been no falling out or anything like that. And again, not only my relationship, but the coach's relationship remains very good with Danny. I think it's one of those things where it's never nice talking about this stuff, and it's never nice when people feel it's time to face a new challenge or whatever. But it's, as I say, it's been going on a couple of weeks, so I'm a couple of weeks down the line to you guys, with my head round it, and I know it's right for Danny, and it's just one of those things. It's just one of those things you start talking about, and then probably, as I say, give it a little bit of time, and then have another conversation, and by the last conversation, you pretty much know where it's going to be, and you've got to respect the way people feel, and as I say, we'll all continue to have a good relationship off the back of it anyway.
What's been the reaction kind of around the place about what happened on the weekend? Obviously, we've become used in recent times, because of the pressures on squads, having to try to maintain that kind of Premiership European focus, but even allowing for a lot of your injuries. I appreciate you're in a tough place on that front. Did you cop a bit of fire for the team that you sent out to Lyon, the way it all unfolded? It just seemed like round one, that that's a tough round to have to go and throw the kids into when nothing actually has happened at that point in Europe. You've still got a shout, no matter how decimated your squad.
Yeah, I mean, we weren't throwing. I probably view it differently to that perspective on it. We weren't throwing the towel in or anything like that. I think we were just very real about where we are. How much rugby our international lads have played. A lot of our guys have played every minute of every game. So, we could roll out our absolute best team who happens to be fit every single week for the next 20 odd weeks, and everyone will be knackered. So it's one of those where you've got to sit back as coaches and go, right, what's the plan? How are we looking at it? Which young lads would we really like to see under a huge amount of pressure? And, to know, can we throw them in the Premiership or not? So it's, again, I can see from the outside when you look at it, it's, things are a lot more simple. But, from our point of view, we're planning, we're looking at when guys will be fit again. We're looking at how tired guys are and bangs and all the rest of it. And it's, I stand by, I think we did the right thing. Would I love to score a few more tries and make it a little bit harder for Lyon to score as many as they did? Absolutely. Like, we'll always, we didn't walk away from the game with a smile on our face and happy about it. I knew the reality of it before the game, but as I say, we take away. We're a positive club, and we're building the way we think we should build, and testing ourselves how we think we should test ourselves. So we take the positives. We look at who worked unbelievably hard, who fronted up, and in the end we were overpowered by an extremely good Lyon team who I'll be very surprised if they don't go a long way in that tournament, and their league. But it's just the way we thought best to approach it.
Yeah. Do you ultimately have to put it down to a combination of factors, but primarily the squeeze nature of this season? COVID has just done this to a lot of teams, probably not just yours.
No, exactly. And everyone's dealing with their own troubles. I think this season is unique. Like you lose the internationals for a hell of a lot more than you'd lose the internationals normally. And again, this is sort of the first week we've got sort of 10 players come back into the squad, which is great. But every club's dealing with different scenarios, COVID, injuries, internationals. Everyone's going to manage it slightly different. And as I say, we lost that game, but a lot of teams across the Champions Cup lost their games on this weekend. And yeah, the margins weren't as big, but they'll manage it how they want to manage it, and we'll manage it how we think best.
Is it difficult for you to kind of reinvigorate a side after what happened out there? You've still got the rest of the campaign to navigate your way through. However you do that selectorally, that's quite a challenge for you right now, isn't it? I imagine, because there'll be a lot of people even subliminally thinking, well, Europe's done.
Yeah, I think we're quite lucky in that, we got a group here, coaches, players, everyone in the sort of backroom staff. Everyone's quite excited about what we're doing, and everyone's very positive. So I don't think that's the case. I think there was actually a good buzz today, not about Lyon, but about seeing some faces back in the club. Everyone's excited to, catch up on what everyone's been up to and talk about the games they've all played and what's been going on and all the rest of it. So, boys are pretty upbeat, but they're all excited about, where the club wants to go and the changes we're making. And as I said the whole way along, we're not going to make some changes and be perfect next week. It's going to take a bit of time, but the boys on the inside are excited about that, and so it's not hard to motivate them for this weekend. We know exactly how hard Ulster are going to be. It's not a game you're going to jump into and win and just be, by turning up and putting your shirts on. You're going to have to fight extremely hard against a really competitive team, but that's exciting as well. So there's no heads down or anything like that by any means. Thanks, George. Thank you.
George should have asked earlier, can I just check on Danny Cipriani's status? Is he now a free agent, so he could play for any team he wants in whatever country, including England?
Yeah, I mean, Danny can take on whatever challenge he wants to now. Yeah, and like I say, I don't know what that'll be, but he's open to whatever.
Thank you.
Hi, George. Apologies if this has been asked already. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes. Sorry, my signal's been going in and out. So sorry. Apologies if this has been asked already, but I just wondered. Danny himself has said that he's had a few sort of mental health struggles this year, which is understandable with all the stuff that's been going on in the world. I mean, did he come to you with concerns about that and ask for a break, or I don't know, time away from the rugby field to just get his head right? And is that kind of part of what's happened today, or is that not related at all?
No, that's not related to any of the conversations I've had with Danny. This is very much a rugby thing and how Danny feels. So, that's nothing to do with what's happened here. No.
Sure. And sorry, you might have said already, but just to clarify, he came to you and said that he'd like to move on a couple of weeks ago. Is that what you said before?
Yeah, I mean, we had a conversation a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, it's not quite as simple as that, but yeah, we started conversations, and that's the conclusion we came to after a good few honest conversations. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks. Okay.
Cheers, George.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, George.
Thank you, George.